Mr. Young said, I'm Craig Hoxie. I am a veteran of the United States Army from 1992 to 1997, active duty with the 82nd Airborne Division. Airborne all the way. After 97, I came back to Oklahoma and was in the National Guard till 2000. So I finished my 8-year commitment in uniform, and quite frankly, one of the biggest, most important things I ever did in my life. Like many people from that time frame, I did join the Army because I wanted the college money. I couldn't afford to pay for school, and the Army provided me a way to do that. What I never realized the Army was going to do for me was turn me into a decent human being. Anyway, so here's why I'm standing up here today. When I left the Army in 1997, moved here to Oklahoma with my wife. She is a native Tulsan. I was born somewhere else. We won't go into that. But I have been in Oklahoma since 1982. When I came back here in 1997, I came back with a specific reason to become a teacher. When I was in the military, one of the things that I found was I was surrounded with incredibly intelligent, hardworking individuals from every walk of life who had been denied a basic education. Going into the Army was their only chance to get out of the life that they've been in. And so I decided I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to help people. I wanted to make sure that everyone had a chance at a good education, that everyone had a chance to become a good citizen. And so for the last 18 years, I've been a teacher in Oklahoma. I'm an educator in Oklahoma. And when April rolled around and all our huge fight with the state legislature finally came to a head, I was one of the teachers who walked out. And since I figured I'd done some road marching before, I walked to Oklahoma City. And in that walk, I discovered something about myself. What I had never realized until I was doing that walk is just what Stan said about himself. I'm an Okie, and I have been for a long, long time, but I just didn't realize it. When I've been out there on the campaign trail, been knocking doors, and especially the last few days, people have been asking me a question: where are you from? And I tell them, well, I live over in East Tulsa, 11th and 161st. No, that's not what I asked you. I asked you, where are you from? And what I finally realized they're really asking me is, how do I relate to them? How does this guy who, with his long hair, wearing a pretty white hat and a beard, showing up to my door, what does he have to do with my life? And I'll tell you what I have to do. I'm in District 23, and for those of you who don't know it, it is the single most diverse district in this area. Every ethnic group that you can think of, they're living in East Tulsa. Every socioeconomic class you can think of is living in East Tulsa. In one day, I will go from a housing project run by the Cherokee Nation to a gated community sitting on top of the hill. And here's what I have. Those young kids in those housing projects, I've worked with them every day of my professional career as a teacher, giving them the chance to move up in life. For those folks up in the housing project, in the gated community rather, I've never lived in a gated community. My dad was a bank president. My mom was the director of the Chamber of Commerce. We lived in the fancy house at the end of the street, all those expectations that we were going to live in that kind of life, and I watched it all crumble around us back in the 80s when the savings and loan scandal happened, for those of you who remember that one. So I know their stresses. They have the American dream and they're worried something's going to take it away from them. The farmers and ranchers. Yeah, I'm a city boy, but I spent every single summer on my aunts and uncles' ranches, bucking hay, driving tractors, fixing their cars, doing all the work that's necessary to keep that family business going. I watched my grandfather's orchard that he planted with his own hands get plowed over for a golf course. I know what they're dealing with. And I especially know what all the rest of us are dealing with. Those of us who are sitting in the middle income classes. East Tulsa is where people start. It's where you can go, you can get a decent sized house with a nice little yard, everything that we want for the American dream. That's where you go to get it. And a generation ago, you could get that house with one income. And then about half a generation ago, we needed two incomes. And now, for myself, it takes 3 to 4 incomes to hold on to what we've got. I built my house with my own 2 hands. I poured my sweat and love into that house. I'm going to be there until they carry me out in a box. But that house isn't doing for me what everyone told me it was going to do for me. Everyone told me, it's like, oh, buy a house, it's the best thing that'll happen. You're going to raise in value. You're going to be able to put your kids through college on the equity that you're going to build in that house. Been in that house 15 years. You know how much value it's gone up in? About $2. This is the world that we're living in right now. You all know it. You're trying to survive today on the exact same amount of money that you were surviving on 10, 15, 20 years ago. Our state sits at 30th in gross domestic product in our nation. Our median household income is in the low 40s. My wife put it really, really well the other day, though. There is not a scarcity of wealth in this state, but there's a scarcity of access to that wealth. There's a limited number of people who are holding on to all the money, and we're not getting any part of it. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to get rich, get rich. That's part of what this country's founded on. We all have opportunity, but that's just it. We're all supposed to have that same opportunity, and we don't. And our state legislature has been hand in hand with these people keeping us from having that opportunity. We need people up there who are going to change that. We need people up there who are going to make sure that everyone has a chance to succeed in this state. And that's why I'm running. I'm not just running as a teacher. I'm not just running as an Oklahoman. I'm running as someone who cares about people and who wants people to be taken care of. So, please come support me on June 26th if you're out there in District 23, November 6th, because I am going to win my primary. And even if you don't live in my district, please give me a hand. Thank you much.